Good morning. It is a brisk Wednesday morning. It is November the 4th. My wife and I decided to have our kids stay another night at this awesome farmland. It's a mountain, it's a farmland, and it stretches really way back if you see how far back it stretches. It's beautiful, rolling hills, a beautiful scene. I love it, man. So we're about to leave. We're gonna go check out some sheep at this place called 농장. And I wanted to finish my thoughts on, being 42 years old and not having everything figured out. So some people mature very early. I feel like I matured much later, and in some ways I'm still maturing. I think that in some aspects it's good to be young at heart, because if you're young at heart, then you will tend to age slower. That's kind of what I've found. And those who are always adulting look very old. Some who over adults look way past how they're supposed to look. But the real measure of success is like, are you alive? And are you willing to do your best today? Are you in debt? There's so many ways to factor in. But really, there's a saying that goes, everyone has a lot of problems until they have a health problem. And then from there, it's just they have one problem, right? So right now, I'm trying to fix my health and I'm trying to get back to being healthy. So that's my number one priority. And so I've been spending a lot of time in the gym. And there are some guys there that really can give me a run for my money, Some really strong old dudes there. And I'm really lucky because I could walk to the gym. It takes me like 5 minutes to walk there. The sun is really bright today and really high, really early. It's like only 9:43 a.m. So I got like the sun on my face. I'm trying to see you guys. So hopefully we can continue seeing each other. And so I try to go to the gym every day. I know that I can't get to the gym all the time. So I try to do a 2-hour session every time. And when I go, I try to do like one body part every 30 minutes or until it gives out. So I'll end up doing like 1 or 2, maybe 3 body parts per day. And when I say body part, I mean like compound movements, like the entire back or the chest and the triceps or the legs, front, back, glutes. So that's my number one priority right now. I'm 42. I'm trying to take care of my health. And some habits that I did before and kind of, worked against me and were counterproductive, like, eating too much sugar. And I feel like, in a sense, sugar is really my only vice, my only weakness, really, because with sugar, it's everywhere, hidden sugars out in the open. And even in the packaging, they don't tell you, but some of these foods become sugars when it enters the body. And so I don't know if it's an addiction, but it is definitely a vice. And it is an incredibly hard habit to kick. But if I'm fasting, then it's very easy to not eat sugar. But when I'm not fasting, it's very hard to not eat sugar and avoid it. So I'm 42, haven't gotten it all figured out. I have, some health issues that I'm working through right now. And sugar being the main culprit, I think. And so I'm lucky because, health goals is something that I should have planned earlier. And my resolution this year is just to get healthy, get fit. So I can grow up with my kids and they can see me. I didn't grow up with a dad, so it's nice to have them see me, watch them grow up and do stuff with them. And so if I'm relatively young, so my body can heal relatively quickly. So I'm lucky in that sense when I figured out, hey, my health, it's a huge issue. I've got to do it now. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to multiply if I don't take care of it right now. And some of you might be in the same shoes. And so we are relatively young, and we have a chance to figure it out and to turn things around. And so that's kind of what I'm planning to do this year. And so whenever things are going really bad, I heard a saying, just wait a year and then it'll get better. So I have found that out to work for me. Every time I am in the worst scenario in my life ever, something happens within the year. Within the next 365 days, I get offered, 1, 2, or 3 opportunities that really turn my life around financially and otherwise. And so even though, hey, I'm going through some things in my career that I didn't expect to go through, I feel like I have a chance. I just have to wait a year, wait till the storm to pass. And I encourage you too, if you're out there and you're going through some things, just give it like a year. And I promise you, things will be different. Unless, like, you're locked up, like, I don't know, right? In that case, I would not have any idea. But trying to quit sugar is very hard because, it's in the milk we drink, right? It's in the fast food we eat, in the snack foods in the aisle, even a small bag, and they're so cheap and available, but they're filled with sugar. And that's what's so tempting about food these days, is the ones that are easy to avoid are really good for you. Like the meats and the eggs, you kind of have to go in there to find it, right? But hey, the Snickers bar or the Doritos bag, it's like right there and it's so delicious. I love eating those, but like, hey, in general, snack foods is not something you want to eat every day. It's not something even you want to eat if you do eat in one day, in one sitting, that much. And it's detrimental. I know it is. Every time I eat it, I kind of give it like, how do I feel test, And snack foods fail the how do I feel test 100% of the time. Not hating on any of these brands. They do a really good job at making really good snacks and really good tasting food, if I can call it that. Like, they are something to enjoy, periodically, not every day. And so I'm trying to cut back on that, maybe once a week or a few times a month. And so it's really easy to get addicted to sugar when you're not fasting. And so right now I am trying to enter a fast because I know that like it's the only thing. And a lot of diseases that humans bring upon themselves are in the mouth. They eat something, they don't pay attention to what they're eating, and it tastes good. And over time, it just destroys the body inside out, And you can tell someone's diet just by looking at how they look on the outside without makeup, right? And so, yeah, that's kind of what I've been dealing with right now, is the process of aging. And, taking a little sabbatical right now, just to get away from it all. I'm usually stuck in my office, like 24/7, writing my scripts, shooting my videos, editing them, which takes the longest, experimenting with AI, developing AI workflows, having to see a new tool come out and then having to redesign my workflow, and just to come out into nature, away from the studio, and just to kind of see what people are doing, And the good thing is there's no people. That's the beauty of these places, is like you can be alone, you can be one with nature, and I think it's healthy for my hormones to calm down, release the cortisol, and just to not think about work and to not think about anything at home. Yeah, so what about you guys? What do you guys like to do just to, I don't know, chillax, if I must say that. And so I don't have it all figured out. And I don't think any of us would ever have it figured out, you know? You could have it figured out at 20 years old, and then you could be dead at 21. You know, we have a lot of like tragedies lately of influencers dying really young. Or just young people in general, you know, getting diseases when they're young and they don't have it figured out. And it's like, that's not the point of life, you know? It's not to figure everything out. It's just to learn as you go, man. And just to enjoy the process and to be as good of a person as you can. And to, at least that's what I figured out, you know? Being around for 42 years and kind of seeing different generations come and go. Is that we can only handle and control so much. And so, you know, we might as well control what we have control over, or manage what we have control over. And all we have is what we can manage. And so I'm trying to get back into painting. You know, I've been meaning to, because I don't want to make brain rot all the time. I don't want to make, you know, sometimes I make AI slop. You know, I'll admit, sometimes I do. But sometimes I put a lot of effort into the AI. And what kind of makes me sad is that, you know, people cannot tell the difference between AI slop and, you know, AI art. And the reason why I say AI art is because any machine that you use can become a tool for the artist. Any automation is a tool, because even if you're a 3D artist and you are creating a picture, dude, there's like a million things happening in the background that you did not design, that you did not invent, you didn't come up with the code for Adobe Photoshop. A lot of people use that to draw. You didn't create the back end to make that work, to make your brush look like that and move like that. You didn't create the preset of the brush that you're using. Yeah, you can, but you didn't design the code behind it. Well, does that mean you're not an artist? Of course you're an artist. You instigated, you initiated the conversation between the canvas and the viewer and yourself. And even the painters, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, are they artists? But they didn't create the oil paint that they bought. You know, maybe they didn't mix their own colors. But today, you don't have to mix your own colors. You can go to the shop. You can just buy it. You didn't create the brush or cut down the tree to carve the wood and make the canvas. You didn't do any of those things. Are you not an artist because you didn't do that? Isn't that a silly conversation to have? And so whenever I see people create, even there's human slop, right? When we create paintings without mixing the colors thoughtfully, or without thinking about colors when we paint, we call that painting out of the tube. It's the same thing as AI slop. You didn't put any thought into the words. You are orchestrating for the AI to understand what you're trying to say and create what it is you want to make. You didn't put any thought into it. So yes, in a sense, that is AI slop. But if you spent days and weeks creating a paragraph, and then that paragraph becomes automated, you can start recreating lots of really great videos or pictures out of that paragraph. And then you tweak it every now and then. You adjust it because you put all the work in the front end to create that body of text. And at the end of the back end, you don't put any work because you already spent all that work beforehand. And you don't really put any work into changing a word here or there in your paragraph anymore. But you still use that paragraph to make new videos. Is that AI slop? No, it's not, because you put in the work already. But oil painters who just kind of like squeeze the green out and then they paint out on the canvas. They didn't really think about what they wanted to paint. They were just like, okay, maybe the curiosity and experimentation, or the AI slop or the human slop is okay for R&D, research and development. But when you are, kind of trying to say something or trying to put a message out into the world and you're not putting any thought into you have to put thought. And it's not just about mixing the colors or organizing the words in the paragraph for the prompt you're going to use for the image or the video. It's about being thoughtful every centimeter of whatever you're putting out, every millisecond of every millisecond and every millimeter of every thought and action you put into the output from the inside of your being to, outward to the output. Like, that is art. It's thoughtfulness into every facet of what you're doing in thought and action in trying to communicate something to the world, Whether or not anybody sees my painting or, I've drawn and painted like hundreds of works, I think, like by now. I stopped counting. I don't even know. Maybe, but does it really matter if I'm putting in like a month into a big canvas just to say as much as I can within those borders, those 4 borders, and putting God knows how many layers of paintings behind what you're seeing now. And it's the same thing with AI art. Like, yeah, you see a video, but you don't know how many iterations it took, how many layers of trial and error, of pressing enter on a paragraph that I wrote and not getting what I want back, going back to ChatGPT, going back to Gemini, going back to Grok, to Claude, and to talk to the AI and get what I want. Go back to the video output AI, getting what I want from that, not seeing what I want, going back to the drawing board, coming back. And as an artist, there is no difference in creating AI videos and AI images than it is to create physical paintings. The only difference is the physical work and the physical repetition. But just because you replace the physical with the digital, it doesn't mean you get rid of the repetition. And so that's kind of funny, right? And I want to encourage you guys, like if you're an artist and you want to make the best art you can, whether or not it's AI art or real art, just don't give up. Trust that in time, God will provide a medium for you to express that through. If I kept drawing and really focused on social media and drawing, then maybe I could have been somewhere in drawing by now. But hey, the comedy and the personality, being a goofball, that worked out for me. And it's not something that I intended to do forever. Comedy was not something that I wanted to do my whole life. It's just what I'm doing now. It's because people responded. And if I feel a certain way about wanting to do something else, which I currently am, I'm talking to you right now, I'm going to do it, And, related to art and the arts, it is a very mysterious relationship, right? Because if you don't make the AI video, if you don't make the AI image, if you don't make the oil painting, if you don't make the acrylic painting, someone else is going to make it. God will choose someone else to flow his message through for the world to see and experience and feel. And that's kind of what I've learned is that, like, hey, I would write a story and then I would see, oh, someone else did it years later. Why? Because I didn't publish it in time. I didn't edit it and get it out there in front of people before God chose someone else to do it. That's it. And if I don't do it, someone else will do it. And so that's what I think about art is like, hey, you don't want to spend forever on a single painting or drawing because, hey, God's going to find someone else to show the world if you don't if you don't get on the horse and stay on the course. And so that's kind of like one of the regrets. I don't want to say regret, but one of the learning lessons that I had is that if I want to do something and people respond to it, I got to keep doing it, you know? And if I feel differently about it, then I have to find a way to automate it so that I could focus on something else. Because dreams change. Just because you want to be this when you grow up, and then eventually you do grow up, it doesn't mean that you still want to do that thing when you've grown up. And so that's what's been on my mind. And separating the art from the artist is really important, because the art is not the artist. The art is God going through somebody to show the world what God wants to say to the world. And so whenever you say, oh, this artist is an immoral person, he did this, you should not like this artist, and this artist should not have the right to practice his art. I don't think that's true. So I want to end there. So you have to respect the art, you have to respect the artist, and you have to understand that they're two completely different things. And you cannot judge the artist for what the artist put out as art. They're two different things. Art is what God wanted to do through this artist or not. And the artist is himself outside of his art. So have a good day, guys. And it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. I love being here. We're going to go see some sheep now. Bye.